the rap world just got hit with a bombshell. Young Thug's jail calls are leaking, and fans believe Gunna's own camp is behind it. Loyalty, betrayal, and survival – this is the story the industry doesn't want you to hear. When Young Thug's voice leaked from behind bars, the whole hip-hop world shook. But the real question is, who's leaking these calls? And is Gunna the one taking down his own brother? Imagine this. The same man you called your brother is the one exposing your darkest secrets to the world. That's exactly what's happening between Young Thug and Gunna, and tonight, I'm breaking it all down. Rumors have been flying around the rap world, and one of the biggest involves Young Thug, Gunna, and a string of leaked jail phone calls. Many fans are convinced Gunna's team has been behind these leaks, feeding the recordings to fan pages to shift public opinion. The leaks surrounding Young Thug have completely shaken up the hip-hop world. For years, Thug carried the reputation of being untouchable, someone who lived by the code and never bent under pressure. But now, hours of interrogation audio and private conversations have started flooding the internet, painting a very different picture. These clips suggest that Thug may have cooperated with law enforcement in ways his supporters never imagined. One of the biggest shockwaves came when DJ Akademiks, a commentator known for breaking hip-hop drama, weighed in. Instead of brushing off the leaks as random internet noise, he took them seriously and connected the dots. According to Akademiks, the timing of these releases doesn't feel accidental, it looks strategic. He argued that Gunna, Thug's longtime collaborator and YSL affiliate, might be the one pulling strings behind the scenes. Why Gunna? Akademiks explained that Gunna's camp may have been sitting on these recordings for a long time, waiting for the perfect opportunity to drop them. If true, this move wasn't about revenge in the heat of the moment, but rather a calculated effort to shift the narrative. From his perspective, the leaks were designed to chip away at Thug's credibility by making it seem like Thug had already broken the street code himself. If people saw Thug snitching or talking too freely in interrogation rooms, then the accusations against Gunna for cooperating with authorities might suddenly not look so bad. In fact, they could even make Gunna appear like the lesser of two evils. This theory gained traction because of how the leaks kept surfacing. Every time public sympathy for Thug seemed to rise, a new damaging clip would hit the internet. Fans noticed the pattern. When people started calling Thug a victim of the system, a recording would appear showing him sounding desperate or naming names. Akademiks suggested that this wasn't coincidence, it was strategy. Even more interesting is how these files may have been obtained. Akademiks hinted that Gunna's legal team might have gotten them through official court channels. In many criminal cases, defendants are granted access to discovery material, the evidence prosecutors intend to use in trial. This can include police reports, interrogation tapes, and witness statements. While these materials are supposed to stay within legal boundaries, once they're in the hands of defense teams, there are ways they can quietly make their way into the public. Akademiks floated the idea that Gunna's lawyers could have had these tapes for months, maybe even years, and waited until the right time to leak them through unofficial channels. The result is a messy battle of perception. On one hand, Thug has always tried to project loyalty, framing himself as the leader willing to take the fall for his people. On the other hand, these leaks undercut that image, making him look like someone who would trade names to save himself. That contrast is devastating in the world of hip-hop, where reputation is everything. For Gunna, the leaks might serve as a lifeline. Ever since he took his plea deal, he's been branded a snitch by large parts of the rap community. His reputation took a hit, collaborations dried up, and fans questioned his loyalty. But if the narrative shifts, if people start to believe that Thug himself wasn't as solid as he appeared, then Gunna's own cooperation doesn't look quite as damning. Instead of being singled out, he becomes just another player in a much larger game. Still, this strategy is not without danger. If Gunna's camp truly orchestrated these leaks, the move could easily backfire. On the surface, releasing damaging recordings about Young Thug might seem like a clever way to take the heat off himself, but in the long run, it risks making Gunna look cold and manipulative. This isn't just about two rappers in a feud, it's about loyalty, reputation, and how the culture of hip-hop judges those who break unwritten rules. Gunna and Thug weren't just label mates. For years, they were seen as brothers in arms, rising together under the YSL banner. Their connection went beyond business. They collaborated on countless songs, stood side by side during YSL's rise, and gave fans the impression of being inseparable. To turn around and allegedly weaponize Thug's lowest moments, the moments when he sounded desperate in an interrogation room, feels like a betrayal of the deepest kind. and betrayal is one thing that hip-hop rarely forgives. Legal trouble can be spun into a comeback story. A prison sentence can even elevate an artist's status, adding a sense of authenticity to their name. But stabbing a friend in the back? That leaves a scar that doesn't fade easily. In many ways, it's worse than the snitch label itself, because it shows a willingness to destroy someone who once gave you a platform and a career. Yes, Gunna might win temporary sympathy from certain fans who argue, well, if Thug was cooperating too, why is Gunna getting all the hate? That argument has some weight, and it could soften his public image. But the flip side is even more damaging. It suggests that Gunna is playing a dangerous game of chess, moving pieces around a board where the stakes are people's freedom, reputations, and legacies. To some, it looks less like self-defense and more like calculated sabotage. The hip-hop community thrives on loyalty stories. Crews like Cash Money, G-Unit, Dipset, and YSL built their empires on the idea that loyalty comes first. Even when members fell out, there was always an underlying expectation that you don't expose your brother's darkest moments to save yourself. By crossing that line, if indeed he did, Gunna risks being remembered not as the victim of an unfair narrative, but as the architect of another man's downfall. What makes this even trickier is how unforgiving fans can be. Hip-hop audiences have long memories. They will bring up old tweets, old interviews, and old clips to remind someone of their contradictions. If Gunna is seen as the one who destroyed Thug's reputation, fans won't let him forget it. Every new release he puts out will be weighed against that shadow, every lyric scrutinized for hypocrisy. In the end, Gunna's biggest challenge might not be proving his innocence in the court of law, it's surviving the court of public opinion. Because in hip-hop, once the people decide you're a snake, no chart position, no platinum record, and no Billboard hit can fully wash that image away. Meanwhile, fans are left caught in the middle. Social media debates rage daily. Is Thug really snitching in these tapes, or are his words being twisted? Is Gunna a victim trying to clear his name, or is he masterminding a smear campaign against his former mentor? Nobody seems to agree, and that confusion only keeps the story alive. What makes this even bigger is how the industry responds. Rappers who once stood by Thug have been strangely quiet, while others have started to distance themselves entirely. Every unfollow on Instagram, every missing feature on an album, and every cryptic tweet gets dissected like evidence. The silence speaks volumes, and fans are quick to point out who's staying loyal and who's walking away. At its core, this saga is about more than just leaks, it's about power. Young Thug built his empire on loyalty and fear, controlling not just his label, but also the respect he commanded in Atlanta and beyond. Gunna, on the other hand, is fighting for survival, trying to prove he can still stand as an artist despite the snitch label. The recordings, the leaks, and the online debates are all weapons in that war. Whether or not Gunna's camp truly orchestrated the leaks, the damage has been done. Young Thug's image as the untouchable boss has been cracked, maybe permanently. And Gunna, once seen as the weaker link, has managed to flip the script, at least in the eyes of some. The bigger question is, how long can this game go on? With Thug's trial dragging forward and more evidence bound to surface, the leaks might just be the beginning. If more tapes drop, the war of perception could spiral even further, dragging more names, more reputations, and more careers into the mud. For now, though, one thing is clear. In the battle between Young Thug and Gunna, loyalty isn't the weapon, it's the illusion. And whoever controls the narrative might just control the future of YSL itself. But here's the twist: while Gunna was being accused of leaking calls, more recordings of Thug also began to surface. In one call, Thug is heard reviewing Gunna's own phone conversations, suggesting both rappers may have been digging up dirt on each other. One clip allegedly has Thug reacting to Gunna's release, questioning how he got out so quickly and hinting that something didn't add up. The situation exploded when even more audio dropped, including Thug allegedly calling out other rappers like Lil Baby and QC, labeling people rats for working with those he believed betrayed him. Then came a leaked call with 21 Savage, where Thug admitted he wasn't going to diss Gunna publicly, but still showed disappointment in how quickly people distanced themselves. At the same time, sources claimed Thug's team was fighting back, releasing calls that painted him in a better light. In one, Thug argued that the YSL case was only treated as a RICO after Gunna took his plea deal, essentially claiming Gunna's actions turned the situation into a gang case. However, this attempt to clean Thug's image backfired. Big names like Rallo, 6ix9ine, Wack 100, and academics all went live, reacting to the calls and exposing more dirt. Tekashi69 even said outright that Thug had been cooperating with authorities long before Gunna, pointing back to older cases where charges seemed to disappear. Whack 100 backed him up, saying the streets needed to face the truth that Thug had been playing both sides for years. Fans were left questioning everything. If Gunna really snitched, why is he still signed to YSL? The answer, according to academics, lies in business. Gunna is reportedly locked into paperwork that guarantees Young Thug royalties from his music for life. In other words, even while locked up, Thug benefits financially every time Gunna drops new music. What started as simple diss records and internet speculation has now turned into a messy saga of leaked calls, betrayal claims, and the never-ending debate about loyalty in hip-hop. When it comes to contracts in the music industry, loyalty has little to do with it. Labels don't drop artists just because they're accused of snitching. Instead, they make money off them. As one insider put it, they'll never cut you loose. They might hide your name from the label, but they'll still collect a percentage from everything you release. That's why Gunna is still tied to deals that benefit Young Thug, even after the controversy. Executives at 300 and Atlantic reportedly hinted that Gunna's contract might get moved around, but the money trail would remain the same. Labels care about business, not street politics. The timing of the leaks makes it even more suspicious. Just half an hour after academics suggested Gunna's team was behind the footage, another interrogation clip of Young Thug went viral. In it, Thug seemed desperate, saying, "I'll tell you anything you want, just don't let the world know." To many fans, it looked like a pattern. Whenever Thug appeared to be gaining sympathy, a new damaging recording would suddenly appear. Tekashi69, usually dismissed in hip-hop, actually gained respect for calling out the double standard. He pointed out how fans kept moving the goalposts, justifying Thug's situation while condemning others. "Bro, you spoke for 2 hours when they told you to stay silent," Tekashi said. "Why is everyone so quiet now? Where's all the energy at from people like Lil Baby, 21 Savage, and Future?" That silence didn't last long. Soon after, Thug lashed out on Instagram Live, throwing shade at rappers he felt betrayed him. He mocked their homes, their finances, and even their music, saying they were fake and would eventually fall off. But insiders like YSL Woody claimed this was classic Thug behavior. When angry, he drags others down with him. Woody even warned Lil Baby and 21 Savage to stay far away from the situation, saying, "One thing I know about a man with nothing to lose, he'll take everybody with him." 21 Savage seemed to take that advice seriously. Not long after, fans noticed he unfollowed Thug on Instagram. Woody later explained that Thug had manipulated him for years, never paying for his legal defense while expecting loyalty in return. He admitted he once defended Thug blindly, but now sees it as manipulation, saying, "If we knew what we were getting into, we never would have been there." Woody wasn't the only one. Ro, another rapper, claimed he lost his entire career because of Thug. He tweeted that Thug pressured others to cut him off, including Lil Baby, even after Ro had lied to the feds to protect him. Now, Ro is openly mocking Thug, reminding him that he once said, "If you're a rapper and you snitch, you should drop a gospel album." This is part of a larger pattern. Whenever Thug doesn't like someone, he allegedly calls around the industry to blacklist them. He reportedly did this with Gunna as well, telling other rappers to avoid him after his release. Some listened in private, others pulled back publicly, creating even more tension within the rap community. Thug eventually clapped back at Rallo too, denying he ever lied about serious matters and claiming his own missteps were honest mistakes in trying to keep peace. But by then, the damage was done. Between leaked calls, public rants, and exposed manipulation, the once untouchable image of Young Thug was crumbling under the weight of his own words. In the music industry, contracts are about money, not loyalty. Labels don't drop artists just because they're accused of snitching. Instead, they cash in. As one insider put it, they'll never cut you loose. They might take your name off the label, but they'll always collect a percentage of whatever you release. That's why Gunna is still locked into deals that ultimately benefit Young Thug. Even if his contract shifts from one label branch to another, the revenue stream remains intact. For record companies, business comes first, street politics come second. The leak situation makes that point even clearer. Just 30 minutes after academics suggested Gunna's camp was leaking interrogation clips, another video of Young Thug hit the internet. In it, Thug sounded desperate. "I'll tell you anything you want, just don't let the world know." To fans, the timing looked too perfect. Every time Thug seemed to be gaining sympathy, another damaging clip would suddenly appear. That's when Tekashi 6ix9ine, usually ridiculed in rap, earned rare respect. He called out what he saw as hypocrisy. Fans were bending rules to defend Thug while condemning others for less. "You spoke for 2 hours when they told you to stay silent," Tekashi said. "So why is everyone so quiet now? Where's the energy from Lil Baby, 21 Savage, and Future?" Not long after, Thug snapped back on Instagram Live, throwing jabs at rappers he felt betrayed him. He mocked their houses, their money, and even their music, calling them fake and predicting they'd soon fall off. But insiders like YSL Woody said this was nothing new. Thug had a pattern. When angry, he tried to pull others down with him. Woody even warned Lil Baby and 21 Savage to keep their distance, saying, "A man with nothing to lose will take everybody down with him." 21 Savage seemed to take the advice. Fans quickly noticed he unfollowed Thug on Instagram. Woody later revealed that Thug had manipulated him for years, never covering his legal fees, but always demanding loyalty. Looking back, he admitted he had been blinded. "If we knew what we were getting into, we never would have been there." Ro, another rapper, told a similar story. He claimed Thug sabotaged his career, even convincing others like Lil Baby to cut him off, despite Ro once lying to the feds to protect Thug. Now Ro openly mocks him, reminding fans of Thug's old line, "If you're a rapper and you snitch, you should drop a gospel album." This is part of a bigger pattern. Over the years, Thug has allegedly called around the industry to blacklist rappers he didn't like. He reportedly did the same to Gunna, urging other artists to avoid him after his release. Some listened quietly, while others backed away publicly, deepening the divide in hip-hop circles. Eventually, Thug tried to fire back at Rallo too, insisting he never lied about serious issues and that any missteps were simply honest mistakes meant to keep the peace. But by then, the tide had turned. Between the leaked phone calls, angry live streams, and stories of manipulation, the once untouchable image of young Thug was cracking under the weight of his own words. At one point, YSL Woody even exposed secrets about Pee Wee Roscoe, reminding him of a story that supposedly happened years back. He hinted that Roscoe had admitted something in front of both him and Thug, details Woody suggested could come back to haunt him. But the deeper bombshells weren't just about personal stories. They tied directly into the YSL RICO case. Prosecutors had long wanted to revisit a major incident from 2015, the shooting at Lil Wayne's tour bus. Reports revealed that prosecutors considered calling Lil Wayne himself to testify, with the judge saying Wayne's account could solve a number of problems for their case. During the trial, the bus driver even took the stand. He grew emotional while describing how the bus was sprayed with bullets on the highway. The engine, the radiator, the entire side of the vehicle was hit. Inside, Wayne's team ducked for cover as chaos broke out. The driver admitted the experience was so traumatic, he retired shortly after. But here's where things get strange. Lil Wayne never showed up to court. He didn't testify, didn't call the Atlanta police, and didn't even answer mail from the courts. Instead, young Thug's own words ended up becoming evidence. In an interrogation, he reportedly told authorities that Pee Wee Roscoe was behind the shooting. Only a few people knew about that conversation, one of them being Gunna. So when Gunna's camp started leaking interrogation footage, Thug seemed to take it personally. He even dropped a diss track aimed directly at Gunna, performing it at a club. No subliminals, no clever wordplay, just straight accusations. On the track, Thug rapped, "The only reason I rocked with you, Gunna, was because of Troop." He flat out called him a rat and made it clear he wanted nothing to do with him. The problem? Publicly calling Gunna a snitch violated the terms of Thug's probation. The state of Georgia quickly filed a motion to revoke his probation and send him back to jail. As the industry began buzzing about Thug's potential return to prison, academics broke down what he believed was Gunna's long-term plan. According to him, Gunna always hoped Thug would eventually forgive him. He thought that once Thug beat the heavy charges, he'd let go of the grudge. But that never happened. Thug came home with even more resentment, refusing to reconcile. That left Gunna with no choice but to accept the truth. There was no future for him in YSL. To make it official, he covered up his YSL tattoos, the snake, the lettering, everything. The flames inked over them symbolized his break from the label and his acceptance that the brotherhood he once believed in was gone for good.